Hello and welcome to Journeys of Restoration. I'm your host, Jacinta Canary, and here on this channel, I talk about forgiveness, my journey of faith, my mental health, and all things well being and wellness. Today, sorry, today I'm talking about the significant people in my life who has shaped me to who I am, which is my grandmother, Ouma Betty, and my mother, Sophie Canary, and their impact on my life and how their lives has impacted me. So, what I remember about my grandmother is that she was very generous. She was always in the kitchen cooking for people and tidying up and looking after all of us when our parents were at work. She also did the sewing. As I told you, she showed me how to sew and to embroider. That's where my love for creativity started. My mother and I had, I would say, a very distant and complex relationship because I related more to my grandmother, and I never could understand what was almost like a strange relationship with my mom, between my mom and I. But now, later on, as I started delving into our family history, my mother didn't know she was pregnant with me, and I was born at 28 weeks. I was a premature baby. I was a blue baby, so I had to get a total blood transfusion. My sister also said I had lots of problems with breathing, so I was asthmatic. And I was very tiny. I could fit in a small box, and my brother used to play with me. Apparently, I never used to cry. And probably I was one of those children who had no, not much attention to be paid to, and didn't think I was a demanding child either. My grandmother took a shine to me, and I felt that I connected more with my grandmother. And but my mother has similar characteristics than of my grandmother. So my mother used to host people. She used to love feeding people. I fondly remember us baking. We baked most days, and we would bake cakes, jam tarts, puddings, milk tart. Um, and on Sundays we would bake because when there was not enough food for leftovers, feeding a family of six, and we always had people coming around as well. So sometimes there was food enough from the Sunday lunch to eat at dinner time, but sometimes there weren't. So my mom always baked bread, and we baked fat cook. So it's like bread dough, and then you fry it in oil, and that would also stretch the meal. So I had a love for baking and making biscuits and bread, scones, quick recipes, and also feeding people because that's a gift that comes naturally to me, and it's also the fond memories of us baking together with my mum. And that is where the generosity comes in. And I fondly remember that both of these women were very generous, and they never seemed to lack things in their lives. And my mum always used to say to me, you always have to give to people, even if it's your last. And I know sometimes people find that funny, especially with like clothes and other things. My sister always says, I can never give you gifts because you always give the gifts away. And I suppose I don't attach much to material things. I used to, but it doesn't serve me and doesn't serve us as humans as well. So every 3 months I do a declutter, and you just throw out. And there's a rule in the decluttering, didn't know I had. So if you didn't know you had it, then you don't need it. So I give it to charity if it's usable. Someone else could use it. If it's really old, I just throw it out. And in the self-development and also moving forward in your personal development, if you declutter and get rid of things, you create a vacuum. And also, I believe that if you get rid of clutter, then your life gets a little bit more healing and you can move forward. And each time when you create a vacuum, when you've thrown things away, then God can bless you with something new. And this is a law of personal development, the law of the universe, as spiritual people say, but this is just a natural law, which I think originated from the Bible, because most things come from the Bible. And yeah, so, and that leads us nicely into our reading for today, which is from Proverbs 11, verse 25. So, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 25. And we read, "The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." And from that, I've learned that if you always give and if you're a generous person, you don't think about receiving, you will continually receive and you will not have to go without things. What you need will naturally come. And if generosity is a gift, then we should practice it. This has been something in my life. I get a lot of satisfaction and nurture from giving to others and being generous, be generous in my physical, material things, but also generous in praying for people, in interceding. I find a lot of blessings and a lot of life changes that God has bestowed in my life. So that is the message for today. And thank you for listening. Stay blessed and beautiful, and I will see you next time.